I'm gonna do my best to not vomit profusely as I do this video. These websites that promise to protect your music from AI theft and scraping. Websites that promise to get you copyright certificates. And to legally protect your hard work. So meaning your music, your lyrics, your creative stuff. And websites that actually have real lawyers on them promising all of these things. So which service providers are complete scams and which ones currently that are actually working with major music distributors are the real guys? Well, we're gonna take a look. I, in fact, am a real lawyer. We review websites just like this, and if that sounds good, be sure to subscribe right now. Let's jump into it. Where to begin? I'm gonna start with the one that's kind of at the top of the list for me, which is this company called Dacr. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's come up a bunch of times, so let's take a look. So on this website, I've landed here because I did a search looking for copyright protection services, and it goes, the new standard for copyright protection. Is this a scam or is this real? Copyright protect your work and eliminate piracy. We don't want people stealing from us, right? So piracy, what do we want to protect? So we could do music, videos, code, photos. So we're scrolling down and look, one thing to keep in mind, because we're going to learn some stuff as we go through this. All right. When it comes to copyright in general, here's the good news. In the United States, when you make something, you get copyright protection automatically as soon as it's in what we call a tangible medium. So it can't just be in your head. It can't just be your thought. You need to put your thought on a piece of paper. You need to record it into your phone. It needs to be something tangible. But once you do that, you automatically get this copyright protection. But the thing is that there's all these extra rights that do not unlock until you go and you register with the actual federal government. So when people often are like, how do I get my copyright protection? There is a nuance between these two things of what you do. So we do a little Google search and we've landed so far on this first website, which is so far saying it looks like it's what we need. We can instantly protect anything, code, video, pictures, music. All right, how Dacr Protects. So we're seeing this word certificate and we're seeing this word registration. So when you guys hear about how you really need to go and get your copyright registrations and you need to go and get a copyright certificate, these are buzzwords. I'm not seeing a distinction here, so it sounds to me like they're going to be able to go and get your copyright registration. All right, so there's going to be now a public copyright record. There's going to be a timestamp. All right, so we're kind of scrolling down here and look at that. It says, I mean, this is the certificate. So it's showing you what ultimately it's going to look like. This is what caught my eye. Protect against AI theft. Your work on Dacr leads to a future without piracy. Woo! So this company is going to be fixing all of the troubles that we have with AI companies stealing our stuff. So interesting. I want to know how. AI model training, prevent AI from copying on creating derivatives of your original works. Okay, so that means to create something new based on yours, let's say song. Put an end to AI theft. Wow, lots of buzzwords. Get paid by AI companies. And then this screenshot, ooh, am I paying attention to this screenshot? Because it goes Dacr AI and it goes status registered for protection. So as I'm looking at this, I go, wait. You just said that apparently with your services, I can register for copyrights, but then also I'm going to get protection to protect my stuff against the unauthorized scraping of my music. But then it says Dacr AI. Do you have AI? And if so, are you using AI to train on my stuff that I'm uploading into your system? I don't know. All right, so let's see. It shows global piracy detection. All right, so somehow they're going to use their own AI in real time to detect infringement across the internet. Okay, so I mean, I'm already kind of thinking, do we need to do a deep dive on their terms of service here? If we're inputting our music into your system, are you letting your AI train on our songs? But let's keep going, because again, I'm just trying to find out whether if they're saying that they're going to get copyright registrations, are they in fact going to go and get a registration from the federal government? It's the only way you can get that piece of paper that unlocks those additional rights. That's a big piece here. It blossoms. It's new stuff. And in fact, that new stuff includes your ability to get your attorney's fees reimbursed, your ability to get what are called statutory damages. There are extra buckets of money that you can only get if you have this piece of paper from the actual government. So let's see if that's what they do. All right, so how does it work? One, you're gonna add your work, okay? So you'll take a picture, you'll upload to instant protection. You'll receive a Dacr registration certificate with a timestamp of your copyright, and then the Dacr token. Each original work or IP has a unique token placed on the network. Okay, and I'm seeing like folders. So they kind of have what seems like a Dropbox. So I'm gonna upload my thing into your system somehow. It's going to generate this certificate, which is like a document that says Dacr Certificate at the top. And so far, I'm not seeing anything about actually registering with the government. So let's keep going, because you know what? I just found something. Let's see. How does it compare? Because look, here we go. The current government copyright agency versus what Dacr provides. So it's $2 a year, and if you go through the government, it's going to cost you between $1,000 and $3,000. Wow, that's really expensive. And what's all the stuff? Let's compare. So just $2 on Dacr. Your filing fee is going to be between $65 and $100. Let me tell you guys, if you go and file with the U.S. Copyright Office, it is $65 per application. So if you have an album, that's one filing. So you go, here's my album with my 12 songs, and you do have to pay for that. And then it's $85 if your album is not published yet. It's not been put into the universe, the Spotify's of the world. Okay, so we're close on the fees on accuracy. All right, legal fees. How much is it going to cost? Well, if you go through Dacr, you don't have to pay any lawyer. And if you do need to hire a lawyer, you're going to pay between $1,000 and $3,000. Well, I'm a lawyer, and I can tell you our office charges $350 to do this. But here's the thing. I have a training on this channel on how you can do this for yourself on a step-by-step basis. So legal fees actually $0, because you can just do this for yourself. How long does it take to receive? You could get it in seconds. Versus if you go through that pesky government process, it'll take between 3 and 9 months. And I can tell you that as of right now, the processing time, I've had it as fast as 1 month. I would estimate for 3. But there's more. Global protection. So Dacr is saying they will globally protect your copyrights. Yes, and if you do it through the actual government, you do not get global protection. Well, I'm curious because they're right. If you register with the US Copyright Office, that doesn't apply to Germany. That doesn't apply to the UK. So I'm curious how Dacr is going to give you global protection. So if my song is stolen in Germany, are you going to go to Germany and sue for me? What does this mean? So they go, yes, we're going to give you global protection, but then remember the AI thing, because man, that's just kind of scraping at the back of my brain. They kind of mention this. They go, well, here, if you use Dacr, as it relates to building to deter and eliminate piracy, we'll use our own AI. Yes. Will the government do a detection for you? No. Okay, well, that's certainly true. All right, so this is the first off of the list. And, well, it seems to me that they're not actually doing any copyright registration. So this does not seem legit. And this gets a big X. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, I will say that I find this so helpful. There was someone on Reddit who had this thread. They say that they were in contact with Dacr. And so they had a bunch of questions. And they go, it took about 48 hours for someone from Dacr to find this thread, right? So the thread is, has anyone used Dacr for copyright services? And so they go, I'm not pulling a salary to rebut dude bro point by point, but after reading his replies on the thread and reflecting, researching further while sober, I'm actually even more skeptical that this service can do what it claims regarding piracy prevention, both technically and legally. Here's why. Now he goes into this description about the problems that he is seeing, but I will jump here. He goes, after reviewing the online terms of service as of today, since they are subject to change, I would never use this service or recommend it to a fellow creator based purely on the breadth of the license grant and waivers in section 3, even if it does work as described, and I truly don't believe it does. I'm not giving a sketchy tech startup a perpetual, irrevocable right to use my registered user content and all copyrights therein without compensation to you, without limitation and purposes of any kind. So like I said, I think if you guys want, I can do a nice deep dive on the terms of service. If that's something you'd like to see, leave a comment down below. Understanding that this kind of sounds like there's actual scraping of data potentially happening, but let's move on. We're going to be doing a copyright drive where we will help you to get your copyright registrations if you've needed to do this, if it's been on the to-do list. And getting your copyright registrations are so important in general for the protection of your music, but this is also something you need to do if you are a part of our class action lawsuits against Suno and Udio, and if you want to get paid for the unauthorized use of your music by these companies. Go get on the email list, go to topmusicattorney.com. Number 2, we have a company called SongSecure. Is SongSecure legit? SongSecure, unlimited copyrights. The fastest, easiest, and most affordable rate to protect your original music. Okay. So here at the top, we're seeing certificate of song ownership. And well, this doesn't say US Copyright Office on it. It just says official SongSecure certificate. So this is looking a little suspect right away. All right. And then they say 17,000, over 17,000 members have already joined this website. If that's true, you're telling me almost 20,000 people have signed up based on your representations, SongSecure, that you're going to give them copyright protection. And again, guys, there's a distinction here. It's not just copyright protection, because you got that. You made your thing. You're in the US. It's that you're going to get a copyright registration. You're going to get a certificate. You're going to get this piece of paper that actually unlocks the additional rights that you do not have until you go and get that registration. So I'm looking at these keywords of, well, you're using words like certificate, certificate of song ownership, and you're representing almost 20,000 people. And that is over 180,000 songs since 2016. How does it work? Well, let's see if they actually go to the Copyright Office. 1, you upload your song or your song idea. You add the ownership details. You will then receive verification within minutes, and then you will download your SongSecure certificate. Now, what really stood out to me about this website is that not only are, again, we seeing this intentionally misleading language, in my opinion, about what it is that you are getting, and the fact that this is essentially what we call the poor man's copyright, which is a myth, which actually does not give you any additional rights. And what it used to be, people thought that if they mailed stuff to themselves, so they go, I made the song, I'm going to put it in the mail, and then I won't open it. So there will be a official stamp on the mail of like when I sent it, so it can prove my authorship. That's what this is. This is now the digital version, the digital fingerprint, to say that we're going to prove you own it because on this date you uploaded it to our platform, and then we generated this little piece of paper saying the certificate, which means nothing. But anyway, there's a video on this page. Let's take a peek at this, because this video at the very top here says interview with SongSecure team member and intellectual property attorney, Mark Barrier. And I did a little search and I found this guy, and he seems to be a real lawyer based on what he says in this video. And I just want to watch a little bit of it with you guys.
I originally went to Texas A&M University. I got my undergraduate degree there in physics, worked for several years in the defense industry with Texas Instruments. I went to law school at the University of Texas in Austin. I graduated from UT and worked in a law firm in Houston for several years, and went back and got a master's degree in electrical engineering at Rice University. When I completed that, I moved to Austin and have been practicing in Austin as a patent attorney since that time.
2 things stand out about this to me. 1, it's extremely disturbing what I'm already seeing, because I go, all right, let's take you face value, you're a real attorney, and for what you're about to say on this website that already seems like it is being misleading, in my opinion, to what it is and the protection that people are allegedly getting. But 2, you're a patent attorney. This is copyright. Copyright law, trademark law, patent law are all different things. And so as far as presenting someone as an authority on something when they perhaps do not actually have any experience in that area of law, I have a question. And it's, do you have any experience in this area of law?
So what I found interesting about SongSecure is that it's a quick and convenient way to have verifiable evidence that you did have a song. So, for example, if you create a song, instead of going through the, again, sometimes cumbersome process of registering your copyright with the Copyright Office, which it may take you 4, 5, 6 months before you receive your certificate showing the registration, and in the meantime you're not really sure if you're fully protected. You may get back a letter from the Copyright Office saying that they refuse to register it. you get some certainty from using SongSecure and being able to immediately or almost immediately submit your song.
The cumbersome process of actually getting a real, legally approved, federally secured copyright registration. Again, guys, I've shown you step by step of how to do this. Please go and walk yourself through it. Do the process, because you're going to go onto a website. You're going to type in some information. You're going to send a copy of your song. You're going to upload it, and then you're going to get a piece of paper in the mail. So the cumbersome process of doing it the right way, when really you could just go to this website and upload something into a database. But you know what? Maybe he clarifies at some point. Let's keep going.
Have it recorded, get your verifiable evidence back, and you have the confidence of having done that and having obtained some proof that you could use later on if you need to enforce your copyrights if somebody tries to take your song and do something with it without your authorization.
All right, so what he's talking about is that if you actually need to go to court, well, first of all, you can't even file your lawsuit, okay, if you don't have this piece of paper. So you're not going to court because apparently you don't even need to go to get anything. And that means you literally will not be able to file a lawsuit. Now, you're going to call me up and I'll say, okay, we'll go and get that piece of paper. But now you're kind of screwed because you waited too long and you missed out on some of the things that you get, such as statutory damages, which you needed to have the piece of paper before the infringement happened. But either way, we figure it out. We get the registration. We now are filing the lawsuit. And the big question here is these websites are trying to manipulate you, in my opinion, into believing that they can help you determine or show that you're the owner of the song. Let me tell you how it goes. Never have I ever used a website like this to be like, judge, we're able to prove that our client owns the song because we have this little piece of paper. That could be manipulated with Photoshop. No. What we do is we go into the computer and we get a copy of the project. We look at the emails. We're like, hey, Paul, here's a copy of the song. Here's a copy of the project file. We use everything else than what this would be to prove our case, which again, will not happen because, well, in these cases, they're telling you to not even go and get the actual registration, which you need to use the actual court. This guy's killing me, but let's go back one more time.
There are a lot of people who create some sort of a work, such as a song, and their familiarity with copyrights is such that they felt like they needed to, quote, copyright their song or their lyrics, and that was all they really needed to do. But as an attorney who's worked in the field and who's worked with copyrights, I understood when I heard about SongSecure that it really is aimed at a different need than a copyright registration. When you create a work, if you go to the Copyright Office and you register your copyright, that copyright existed before you went to the Copyright Office. You created the work, and as soon as you created the work, you had copyrights in that work. And what you're doing with the Copyright Office is you're registering the copyright that you already have.
Look, I don't know if, this attorney did the interview and he's a team member, allegedly he's paid to do this or whatever, and now it's just being kind of pranced around as the proof, right? As someone that you can depend on, a representative of the law. Again, let's keep going on this website because context matters. Him being like, look, ultimately having something where like, we have this piece of paper that should show that you were the owner. How does that show that you're the owner? It just shows that you uploaded your song to some platform and got a piece of paper. The actual registration under the law gives you this thing called prima facie evidence. It is assumed by the judge. It is assumed by the court that you in fact are the owner because you go and you get that piece of paper. But let's keep going. All right, so what does the technology do? It's going to give 24/7 access to the registration. It's going to permanently timestamp and encrypt. Okay, you're going to encrypt on a blockchain. You're going to securely put the files in a durable, reliable cloud. Okay, so like your Dropbox too. Got it. And you can receive a certificate within minutes. And lastly, SongSecure registrations are valid forever. Wow. All right, so As far as I can see, in my humble opinion, they nowhere are talking about actually going and getting a real copyright registration. And so this isn't gonna cut it. So these are some of the most popular ones that have come up on Google searches for me, that have even reached out to me to be like, hey, we would love to have you do a post talking about our services, which is incredible to me. But there actually are these companies that work with major music distributors. So we want to take a look at one of those. This one is called Cosynd Copyright Registration, using these buzzwords yet again. And where I saw that Cosynd is working, they are in fact working in conjunction, from my understanding, with Symphonic. All right, so copyright registrations. We make filing copyright registrations a breeze for creators of all types of content. All right, technology has revolutionized how we consume art, establishing and protecting ownership of your content now to save you time, money, frustration, lawsuits. Okay, so they're telling you it's really important to do it. Why should I do it? Oh, here we go. There's no substitute for registering with the US Copyright Office, including mailing yourself your work, affidavit of services, and other registration databases. Okay, finally. So far, they're referencing a registration. They're actually saying there's no substitute for registering with the actual US Copyright Office, which is in fact the case. And they even mention the poor man's copyright. They go, you can't mail it to yourself. And in these other cases, you can't upload it to a platform and get a digital fingerprint to prove anything. And that is a myth. That is not a real thing. All right, so that's what this website is saying. So they say that they're going to help protect your work globally. I'll come back to this. Enhance your rights and win big against infringement. Now, here's some really important language. Registering before your music, right, your content is misused or stolen can grant you a large payout up to $150,000 per infringement plus legal fees. All right, there we go. And that's what I'm talking about. And that is in fact the case. It makes a big difference for some of our huge cases where the infringement was discovered after the client went and got their registration. You could find out about it. Turns out you haven't gotten your registration. And then you call me up and you go get it real quick. You wait a month. You might expedite. Expediting is like $1,000. Don't wait. Okay, kind of thing. But anyway, you still have missed that really important time where you needed to have your registration before the bad thing happened. And so they are reinforcing you can win big. It makes a big difference because sometimes someone steals your song and they go and make $10,000 on it. There's a big difference in actual damages, which you can still get, but there's a big difference between the $10,000 you now can only get versus you could have gotten up to $150,000 in statutory damages plus your attorney's fees. It looks like Cosynd is legit, so they are getting a check mark. Now, I want to move on to this one called Song Copyright, because to me, well, let's look at this one together. Songcopyright.org is the world's leading independent music copyright registration service. It is the first choice of professional publishers, music organizations, songwriters, composers, lyricists. All right, questions. How much does it cost? How do I register? You can register real quick. You click the registration links to the website or click here and you'll be taken to the registration page. Well, let's see where we go. All right, register your song. Press the button above to register song copyright. The fee in the US is $40 for full copyright registration and protection. All right, I'm a little suspicious because that is not in fact the cost to file with the Copyright Office. If you're paying in a different currency, this will be automatically charged in your own currency by your card provider. Okay, let's register. I suppose we won't read too much into the website that has apparently been around forever and serviced so many independent artists and yet won't load. I'm just going to give it a sec. Let's see if it loads. All right, it just does not want to load. So I'll tell you what, let's take a peek elsewhere. Search copyright registrations. So printing your certificate. Click view certificate link next to your song listing in the search results to see and print your certificate. Okay, so again, this is kind of yellow flags to me because generally speaking, if you do have a service provider, my law office, that last company that we were talking about, you have someone else who is doing it for you, one of two things is going to happen. Either that person or company is going to get a copy of your thing and then send it to you, or sometimes what we just do is we have the Copyright Office send it directly to you. So again, just because a company says we're going to obtain a copyright registration through the US government, you're still going to be suspicious, because I'll tell you what, these guys are going to watch this video and then they're going to get ideas and be like, oh my gosh, we know the errors of our way and how we're advertising this, because a real lawyer is calling out what's wrong. And then they're going to go back and probably update their language. So just because it says that they're filing for US copyright registrations, you still want to do some searches and be aware. But back to this website, so far, it's concerning. I'm not seeing anything talking specifically about the process. They're not citing the correct fees. It's odd if a company is like, pay $40 and it actually costs $65 up to $85 per filing. So not getting super vibes on this. So I'm going to give it a question mark for now. Also because I can't get to the rest of the website to even see what's going on. Now, this is a very short list of all the ones that I actually found, but I wanted to address this because they continue to come up and it's really disturbing to me that these companies are, from what I can see, misleading customers into thinking, artists into thinking that they're actually getting copyright registrations through the government, which is what you need. So at the end of the day, it's so important that we bring awareness to this. And this is the kind of thing that you absolutely need to send to your musician, artist, music producer friends, so they know. They literally will just not know. And when it comes time, they're like, oh my gosh, I need to go and get my registration. They're going to go to Google and then they're going to accidentally land on one of these websites. And it's a growing problem from what I can see, because no one's talking about it. So we're talking about it. I'm top music attorney, Miss KRYSTLE. I'll see you on the next one.